tuned in to Biketyson Life Cycles, and the life cycle today is people. Y'all need to start biking y'all age. What I mean by that is pretty simple. It's self-explanatory. Listen, if you're in your 40s, possibly 50s, and you still want to race these youngins and wheelie and do all of this, unnecessary shit, more power to you. But you got to be more mature than that because at the end of the day, things change when you're a little older. Your strength, your response time, your body and skill decrease. So if you in your 40s and 50s, I don't really think you need to be trying to keep up with some of these youngins. Now it's probably fun, every now and then. If you just got an open road straight away and you just want to do a quick pull to see how fast your bike is, that's cool and all. But to sit up here and try to keep up with some of these youngins today, they a little too reckless for me. And you just know that just by constantly riding or group riding or whatever the case may be. So here's my little 2 cents. So when I say, bike your age, now if you're in your 20s, right, get it, got it. You have no worries in the world. You probably got probably no bills like that, or you probably don't have no family, kids or anything like that, and you could just ball to the just ball to the wall all you want, just live life on the edge. And that, I ain't saying nothing is wrong with that, but what I am saying that when you're a little older, a lot of other things you got to think about, like your career, family, friends. You got obligations in life that you need to be a little bit more mature when you out on twos than doing some of this, wild, crazy shit that some of these youngsters be doing. So I try to break it down a little bit as far as how you should be biking your age. All right. Now, this goes for, let's say, mainly men or boys than women, because it's a little different. Women are a little bit more mature, and I don't think they as reckless as most men are. But if you're in your 20s, I'm gonna break it down by decade. From 20 to 29, 30 to 39, 40 to 49, so on and so forth. Right. So if you're in your 20s and let's just say you're a beginner, all right, I would suggest you buy a used bike just to get the feel of being on twos, and start with, and this is depending on your body type. If you're under 200 pounds in your 20s, you should be, and you're a beginner, you should be starting with at least a 600 to a 750 cc motorcycle. And the reason I say that is because if you're a novice at this, you want to get used to just being on twos, and the margin of error when you're on a lighter bike, not as powerful bike, is you got a better probability of surviving if you get into a jam or something. So if you're a beginner, you're in your 20s and you're less than 200 pounds, you shouldn't be riding nothing more than a 600 to a 750 cc motorcycle. And that's just my 2 cents. All right. Now, if you're in your 20s and you're over 200, then you need to be on a 1000 or 1000 and up cc motorcycle. And that's just because at the end of the day, it makes no sense if you 250 and you trying to ride on a 600. Like that don't look right. That just, what that look like? That look like women that get their body done with a fat ass and their legs look like chicken legs. That's what that look like to most guys that see a person that's in a heavy set guy on a 600. Like that shit just don't look right, man. Like, again, it's almost like a woman that just got her butt done with chicken legs. You'd be like, bruh, what is you doing out here in these streets? So if you're a beginner, that's just my 2 cents of how you should be classified, I would say, in your realm of being on a motorcycle. So if you're intermediate ride, like you've been riding for a while, and again, if your skill level is it ain't a beginner, but it's not expert, then get a 1000. Be on a 1000, and do your thing if you in your 20s. It's just, again, be mindful of certain things as far as your life. Like if you know you got kids or obligations or career, you don't want to be doing nothing crazy that can jeopardize that. If you out here, racing, street racing, and wheeling and splitting cars, racing cars, like anything can go wrong at any time. So you always got to be alert and always got to be aware of your surroundings when you're riding. And I just don't want nobody out here, killing themselves. So that's how I look at it. Now, one thing we do as motorcyclists, we always gravitate to, like you gravitate to your own, I guess you could say, in a way. And what I mean by gravitating to your own, you gravitate to people that are like-minded people when you're out on twos. Like myself, I gravitate to guys who I know ride like me or have certain common characteristics like me, and that's my core. That's my comfort. That's my comfort move. So I understand, if you're in your 20s, you don't want to be hanging with a bunch of guys that is in their 40s, because we just probably have nothing in common. I mean, we have the wisdom and the experience because we've been riding for quite a time that can give you, some tricks and tips. But for the most part, we know most guys in their 20s, they want to go fast, they want to do all the dumb shit, they want to, show off and so on and so forth. Where the guys that's in the 40s, we just like, we chilling. I ain't got nobody to impress. I mean, if I need to, get moving, trust me, I can move. So that's kind of how I look at it. And I don't. Some people mix and match. I know me. I have two sets of riding people, riding groups. I have my cruiser group who I ride with, and I have my sport bike crew who I ride with. So it's a different dynamic depending on who I'm with. So when I'm with my cruiser buddies, and I got a sport bike and they got basically all Harleys, then I know I'm chilling. I know at the end of the day I ain't doing nothing stupid. I know that I'm gonna be, just on a nice long cruise with the cruiser guys that like to minimum ride for like 3 to 4 hours and enjoy just the scenery of wherever they going. So I know I really don't have to worry about anything. And I know I don't have to worry about getting pulled over by cops or being harassed by cops because I'm on a sport bike and they're on cruisers. Because again, in a couple of my other videos, I feel like cops are biased when it comes to cruisers and sport bikes, because I never see a cruiser getting pulled over on the side of the road like you do sport bikes do. So I'm in that comfort zone, I would say, when I'm riding with a bunch of cruiser guys, because I know at the end of the day, they ain't gonna harass you. And most cruiser guys, they ride in formation, so it looks clean, it looks neat, and it's non-threatening to cops when they see motorcycle cruisers coming down the road. But when they see formation and sport bike guys, it's almost like the antennas go up, and I'm just like, oh, here we go with the bullshit. But I like to separate them too. Like, I have many times rode with a core of sport bike riders, and it was mixed ages, but you can actually tell the difference when you're riding with younger guys versus older guys or middle-aged guys, because one, the conversation is different, the riding experience is different, and you just get it's just a what you would call it, an unspoken language. He can ride, no, he can't ride, or I don't like the way he ride, or stuff like that. And I know with me, usually when I'm riding with a bunch of sport bike guys and they start doing wheelies and burnouts, I know I'm getting away from them, because at any time shit can go wrong. So don't be wheeling behind me and expecting me to just keep moving because I may break. Who knows? I mean, it may be something ahead of me and I may break and you just might be thrown off. And next thing you know, we exchanging insurance information and a whole bunch of other shit. So I just want to make that be known. If you willying or you riding reckless, don't be behind me. I'm gonna move to the side. Let you go. Now, if we're on an open straightaway and I want to have a little fun and we want to do some pulls, then yeah, I'll give you a nice quarter mile. We can race. I don't mind doing that. But other than that, yeah, I don't like, especially when you're on a Hayabusa. I don't split cars, split lanes like that because one, a Busa is a water bike anyway. So what you can do on a 600 versus what I can do on a 1300 are two different dynamics. So I remember I was riding with one group, and again, they splitting cars, dipping in and out, and at the end of the ride, they was like, "You're a safe rider, huh?" I was like, "No, I ain't a safe. It's not that I'm. Yeah, well, yeah, I am a safe rider, of course, but I'm not a reckless rider like you guys is." And again, what most people don't understand is that when you're on a 600 or a 750, that's a much narrower bike versus a 1300. So you're able to split cars versus me. I can't do that. And not only that, you're a $150 and I'm 220, 225. So not only am I on a bigger bike and I'm a bigger man, you're not. So it's easy for you to be more have more maneuverability, more flexibility on a 600 and 750 versus me. So even when I talk to my more experienced riders who do like to ride fast and stuff like that, they'll tell you, if you're on an R1 versus a Hayabusa, it's certain things you just can't do because a Hayabusa is much bigger, is much heavier, it's much wider than a R1. So, I just tell people like, yeah, that dynamic is different. I don't care how good your riding skill is. It's just certain things you just can't do. It's almost like saying, what you can do in a Porsche versus what you can do in a pickup truck. It's just the dynamic is different. So as far as splitting cars, I'll split cars if I feel as though that gap is wide enough for me. But I'm not, splitting cars is just not a lane for me. Like I gotta pick and choose my battles, and I'll dip in and out, or I'll hop on the shoulder in and out, just to maintain. But yeah, I mean, I've seen too many things go wrong when splitting cars and whatnot. But this is part of biking your age. So guys that are on cruisers, I don't see them as reckless. They're just there for the ride. And I put it like this: I hardly see 20-year-olds on a Harley. I really don't see that. Most people on Harleys are pretty much 30s, 40s, 50s, and up that I see. So I don't really have to worry about reckless riding from a 20-something-year-old on a Harley Davidson because you probably won't even see that for the most part. But the most reckless drivers are the youngins that are on dirt bikes. So if you're ever in Baltimore or DC and you see the four-wheelers out or the dirt bikes out, now they get reckless. I don't even ride with them. That's a whole different dynamic. That's a whole different scene. That's a whole different vibe. And yeah, they in their own lane. When I look at the dirt bike riders, they're more of the how would I say this without offending somebody? They're pretty much like the goons of the bike life world. Like they're just reckless. So they're the what do you call those it's a word I'm looking for. I can't think of it right now, but they're those guys. I guess you could say, because no license plate, they know cops can't chase them. They just know the law as far as what cops can and cannot do. And again, no face, no case, no tags. We ain't going to court, none of that. So they're running for the most part. Most people on dirt bikes, they going. They ain't letting no cop chase them, because one thing, once they go off road, it game over for cops. But that's just my little 2 cents. They're the stepchilds, I guess you could say, of the culture, of the bike life culture, because dirt bike riders, like I said, you catch a couple of those videos, they wheeling throughout the city, in and out of cars, opposite side of the road. They on the pavements with it. So yeah, totally different. So that's my thing. Now, again, when you get older, we all know just your body changes. You just can't do certain things. So as for me, I know that how I am in my 20s versus how I am in my 30s or 40s is totally different, as far as, like I said, response time. Your body and skills start to decrease. And for the most part, I'll tell you one thing: as you get older, you just start getting tired. Because I don't know about y'all, I know after I come from a nice bike ride, I be ready to take a nap. And I don't know why. Maybe it's because of the wind and just being out on twos, and just that adrenaline rush. It take a lot out of you at the end of the day. So I'm just like, "Yo, I gotta take a nap." Whereas if you in your 20s, you probably you know, hey, you go all damn night. Get it, got it. I mean, that's just Mother Nature telling you, hey, certain things need to change. And I've seen a lot of people transition. When they hit either late 30s, 40s, and into their 50s, where they transition from going from a sport bike to a cruiser, just because their body changed. So you don't want to be all cramped up on a crotch rocket versus being nice and comfortable on a cruiser or a trike. I've seen people just transition, and especially if you're married, or in a relationship, and your girl want to come with you. Sometimes being on that cruiser is just more enjoyable than being on a sport bike. Or if you want to be on a trike, like those Can-Ams, or even the Harley Davidson, the three wheelers. So I've just seen older couples like to be out on a cruiser or a trike, we call it, to enjoy just the ride. They ain't about that reckless riding anymore. So that's the transition. As far as you know, your core group of riders, again, is about skill level, is about like-minded people, and make sure whoever is in your crew is kind of down for you when shit happens. Like if me and my crew is riding and then I go down, I don't want them leaving me. Stick around. So that's why there's a difference, because when you're riding with a bunch of youngins, of course they're gonna be riding fast and up in front, and basically ghosting you. And if something was to happen, they don't even know what went on, because they so far ahead, because they riding so fast that they don't even look behind them to see, hey, are we all still together? Whereas when you're in your, riding with your core group of guys, and you know, you're you have like-minded riders, we kind of stay in a pack in a way. Not saying that we ride in formation, but we all still in a clear view of each other when we're riding. Because I know when I ride, if I'm leading, I always look behind me or check my mirrors to see if everyone is still in eyesight, just in case something happened, if they were behind me and they went down, or they caught a flat tire or something like that. I want to be aware so I know to stop. Because if I'm far ahead of them and I'm just doing my thing, I'm like, what happened to him? I ain't gonna know, because I ain't even check. So that's what I'm saying. I've seen people, especially sport bike riders, where everything just seems to be a race. Like, if I wanted to race, then I might as well just ride by myself for all that. Like, for people that for a prom, here's a prime example. A lot of people do the Philly cheesesteak run, right? And when they do that, it's just about going fast. I see you when you get there. You got the address. You got the, where we going. I'll meet you there. Like, well, that defeats the purpose for me, because if you're full throttling all the way up to Philly, and you going 150 plus, I'm like, bruh, I could have just rolled by myself. Because if I went down, you wouldn't even know because you'd be so far ahead. You'd be like, oh shit. So that's my thing. Whereas when you're riding with like-minded people and more mature riders that ride like you know that they're gonna be within the same realm of riding as you are. So again, I'll pick my spots to go 100 plus, and then sometimes I'm just cruising, just in and out of lanes or staying within. I would say staying within a nice radius where I can see everybody. That's my thing. So that's what you need to be mindful of when you're riding with your crew or riding in a group ride or riding, just amongst random people. Just stay in a, I wouldn't say a bird's eye view. Just stay within a nice radius where you can see the people that you came with or the people that you're riding with. Uh, Stay within that radius so you know if something was to go down, that hey, they ain't by themselves. Because I had several incidents where I'm riding with a group of people and one caught a flat tire. If no one was around, they'd be stranded like shit. And you just be like, dang, now you gotta get on the phone, you gotta call whoever, and you by yourself. So no one is almost like the military when you ride. No one gets left behind, I guess you could say. So I know when you're riding with me, no one gets left behind with me. Because again, I'm conscious and aware of who I'm riding with is one, and the type of riding that I do, where I can ride fast, I can ride intermediate, I can ride slow, but I always keep people in a certain radius so if shit was to go down, they have somebody there with them. Whether that's a flat tire or if they crashed or, anything that could just go wrong, you want to have people around you that just don't be, going, ape shit and just flying down the road and not even looking behind them to see, hey, where everybody at? Because at the end of the day, that just defeats the purpose of having a group ride or just having fun and being out with your boys riding. So that's my 2 cents when it comes to biking your age. Just be mature out there, and be mindful that hey, we all got families, and you know the saying, ride your own ride. Uh, that's 100% accurate when it comes to motorcycles, but understanding when you're riding your own ride, not everyone rides like you. And if you want to, be going 150, 175 miles an hour all the time, then I'm not the one you riding with. I'm not that guy. I'll do it when I need to, when it's just an open road and I just want to have some fun. But you'll get a good quarter mile out of it. That's about it. But to be doing it for miles and miles and miles, just going ape shit, nah. I'm gonna get there. You ain't gonna be that far behind at the end of the day. What's the difference? 5 minutes ain't a big difference. If I'm going 100 and you going 150, we still going. As long as we get there safe, that's all that matters. Because I know one thing: the concrete is undefeated. So you drop your bike or you crash, yeah, it's a wrap. Rather for your motorcycle or for you, or you know, you hurting your friends and family and kids and all that good stuff. So tune in to Biketyson Life Cycle, and this is just my life cycle for the day. Bike your age, people. Peace.